Hello, it's time for video number 20. This is Mr. Dira. I'm Mr. Miller. We're going to talk about adjacent angles and linear pairs. So hold on, it's time to do some angles, a new topic. All right, first we want to discuss what adjacent angles are. So adjacent angles are angles that share the same vertex and share a side. So over here on the right, we have an example of a pair of angles that are adjacent. They have the same corner here, and they share this side right there. They're right next to each other. Here, we have an example of angles that are not adjacent. They don't have the same vertex, and they don't have a side in common. They're kind of separated. So adjacent means kind of next to. Two adjacent angles are angles that are next to each other. Okay, so let's see our first example here. So in this problem, we're given this diagram here, and we have to find, given that x equals 35, we have to find some angles here. So the first angle they ask for is CBD. So if you remember, you can kind of trace this out. CBD. If you trace out with your finger, you trace out this angle right here. So to figure out what that angle is, we just have to put 35 in for x. We got to do 3 times 35 minus 9. And what
that would be 96.
Thank you. So this one's 96 degrees. A little bit more than a right angle. All right, this one, next one. So this is 96. Next one, DBA. DBA is this one right here. And so if we put in 35, because they told us x equals 35, 35 plus 10 is 45. So that would be 45 degrees. And now it's no big surprise, CBA, that's the big angle. If we put these two little angles together, we just add their measurements.
141.
Yeah, 141. So 96 plus 45 is 141. So since we had the smaller ones, we can easily figure out the larger one. All right, let's do another example here.
All right, so we have to find the angle of EFG. So EFG, that would be 7 and 8. Oh, EFG, that would be 50. 56.
Yeah, very good.
Angle of GFH. GFH, that is 8 plus 30, that would be 38.
Mm-hmm.
Then HFI. HFI would be 5, and then 6. Since 8 is x, multiply that and add 21.
I think you get 61.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Miller. 61.
Try to be helpful here.
And then we have EFI.
Yeah, this one I'm not going to be helpful on.
Okay, so we're going to add all of these together. Put that in my calculator here. We have 56 plus 38 plus 61. That would be 155.
Excellent. So part of it is just reading what angle they want. If we know the smaller ones, we can get any other combination of them that they ask for. Okay, time for another type of problem. So let's move on. And here we have two adjacent angles again. This time they don't give us a value of x. They give us what one of the angles is, and the problem is to find x. So let's say, suppose the measure is CBD. CBD is the entire angle right here. So they say, suppose that whole thing is 150, find x. So we have to add these together and set it equal to 150, because that's the idea. The measure of this angle plus the measure of this angle equals 150. So 3x minus 10. I don't really need the parentheses here. That's just showing me that all of that is degrees. Plus 2x plus 5, that's the second angle, is supposed to equal 150. So kind of way in a lot of angle problems, the first step is geometry. What does the figure tell us? And what equation we get from the figure. After that, just algebra though. So we're going to combine terms. 3x plus 2x is 5x. Minus 10 plus 5 is minus 5 equals 150. Then we're just going to go ahead and solve this. If you add 5 to both sides, you get 155. If you divide by 5, I think you get x equals 31. Mm-hmm. Now, sometimes they ask you to go back and figure out the angles. So if we want to go back and figure out the angles, we could put 31 in and figure out what the actual angles are, and they should add up to 105. Or, sorry, 150. Okay, next problem.
Okay, so what is a linear pair? There are two adjacent angles that form a straight line and are called linear pair. So for instance, click on that pen here. This angle here has to equal 180. So since we have 60 with the angle 61, we have to figure out what x is. So we have 180 take away 61.
Yeah,
That would
119.
be one.
Sometimes I'm helpful,
Thank
sometimes
you.
I'm not.
119. So
Just gotta
this
go with it
angle,
when I'm helpful.
this angle right here would be 119.
Very good.
The same follow as the other example.
So two
This angle
angles
would equal
that make a
180.
line.
Right.
Yeah.
So 180 take away 98,
I think you get 82.
82. So x will be 82.
Correct.
On this angle here, the same thing, 180. So 180 minus 47,
We'll go for 133.
33. So this angle will be 133.
All right, very good. Now sometimes they're part of a larger diagram, so we have to kind of recognize. So in this problem, 51 and A make a linear pair. That's how we can solve this. We can kind of go around one angle at a time. So 51 and A add up to 180, so we can just do 180 minus 51 to get the value of A. And I'm sorry, I was,
We got 129.
yeah, I was a little slow there.
Also, when two angles are opposite of each other, they can also equal the same.
Right. Because
Same angle.
if you turn around and do 180 minus 129, you're going to get 51 again.
So then 51 on both sides, and then since this is 129, this also can be 129.
Right.
So if we add this angle on this side, that should, both of these angles should equal 180.
Right. So we have several different linear pairs there.
Right.
And we're going to keep using it. Same thing here. If we know one of the four angles, we can get all of them.
So we have 107, and on the opposite side is 107. So now we have to figure out what A would be. So we subtract 107 from 180. That would be 73. So this is pretty much what we did. There we go. So 73, the opposite angle would be the same, 73.
Okay. So we did adjacent angles when we're doing linear pairs. We got two last examples here. So here we go. So these have algebraic expressions. So the first thing is to recognize what's the pattern here? What's the property? Well, we have two angles, and we see that together they form this straight line here. So here's another example of a linear pair. Whatever the values of these angles are, they add to 180. So that's the geometry. You gotta know what's the fact here. The fact is this angle plus this angle equals 180. And so we write an equation like that. X plus 34, that's the first angle, plus the second angle has to equal 180. After this, algebra. All right, so, and you guys are really good at algebra, so this part's not the problem part. So I think that's plus 60 equals 180. If we subtract 60, we get 3x equals, that'd be 120. If you divide by 3, you get x equals 40. Now if I go back and put it in, it didn't say so, but just to check, this angle would be 40 plus 34 is 74. And this angle would be 2 times 40 is 80, plus 26 is 106. And sure enough, if you add those two numbers together, you get 180. So you should be able to explain why an answer works. 40 is the correct answer because when I substitute it, these two angles add to 180. All right, one last one. All right, so these two is another linear pair. They form a straight line. It's a vertical line this time. So same thing. We just add them up. 8x plus 33 equals 180. All right, so 3 and 8 is 11x, and 4 plus 33 is 37, equals 180. I might need to calculate in a minute. Let's see. 180 minus 37 is
143.
143. Cool. And 143 divided by 11?
13.
Awesome. And we won't check it this time. So there are a lot of angle relationships. So keeping that straight, they're a linear pair, they add to 180. They're opposite each other, they're equal. That's going to be kind of a challenge, but we'll practice it a lot. All right, Mr. Jerry, you know what time it is?
Journal time.
Yeah, I was just trying to find it here. There we go. So please copy the diagram into your journal and find those 3 angle measures. Copy the second diagram in your journal and then write an equation and solve for x. All right, no problem. See you next time.